What is down, everybody? Is your main course, Little Pancake. Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about a plant, quite the plant. Okay, a plant and a half even. We are going to be talking about agave. Now, what is agave? It's a plant with leaves. We're going to go into agave, a deep dive into all kinds of different things. We're going to talk about just like general agave. We're going to talk about what humans do with agave, its use to us now and in the far past. And then we're going to talk about a run-in I had with a certain agave fella. I think it's interesting. At least you may get bored. You may not find this interesting at all. If so, womp, womp, my good sir, or ma'am, or madame. Let's get into it. What is agave? Well, this is it right here. Look at this. What? That's wild, isn't it? That's crazy. So agave is a genus of plant. So this, you know how the like kingdom, family, genus, species, class, all that, phylum, all that nonsense. Agave is a genus. There are over 200 different species, different known species of agave variants. This plant is native to the Americas, North, South, and Central, and the Caribbean. It is a succulent, which when you think of succulent, you think of those little things at Walmart, Home Depot, or whatever, the little plants, little like cactus, little dudes that you don't have to water very much. Succulent pretty much just means that it's got like thick and fleshy leaves, and is very good in dry climates, so it doesn't need much water. So agave is a succulent, has very thick leaves with a like fleshy type of insides. The word succulent also means that they have a lot of sap. The actual word succulent comes from a Latin word, succus. Succus. I'm going to start using that. It means sap. So I'm going to start just putting succus into my vocabulary. Just a random Latin word in my English vocabulary. I think that'll be cool. It doesn't need much water. It lives in kind of arid climates. The typical rosette is what it's called, is what the like leaf pattern is called, formed of very large, long, thick, fleshy leaves, and along the edges of the leaves are serrated, almost teeth-like structures. Serrated, so you don't want to like grab it and start shaking it, Wouldn't end well for your hand. Something very interesting, that this is where my interest gets piqued, is that almost all species of agave are monocarpic. What does that mean? Well, calm down. I'm going to tell you. It means that they only flower one time in their life to spread their seed and reproduce. Once in their life. They flower, then they die. They use all of their energy, all the energy they have, to shoot up and bloom, and then they die. Quite unfortunate, but quite cool. Pretty much all species that do this create a very tall stalk, almost like a tree. They practically grow a tree out of their core. This has flowers on it, lets it go, poof, they reproduce. It's very, very cool looking. Because you look at that and you're like, oh, well, that's going to have a cool flower probably. And then you look at the flower and it's like, holy crap, holy Toledo, holy macaroni and sausage. So yeah, it's pretty nifty. That's a nifty thing. They are a keystone species in the aspect of pollen. So due to their large flowering events, per se, they produce very, very high amounts of pollen and very high amounts of nectar. They support things such as bats, birds, moths, and bees. With pollen and nectar, they feed them. The pollen is transported. It's a wonderful time. It's truly a melody of nature. It's beautiful. To mess up this melody of nature, what do humans do? Way back when, in the olden days, the kind of indigenous peoples of the Americas and the Caribbeans used agave for a couple different things. They used the fibrous leaves, so like you dry them out, very fibrous, very tough. They made a rope and like clothes out of that, cloth perchance, and they also used it as a food source. So the head of the agave, the core of the agave, they would take it and roast it and eat it. So, this is like a sweet kind of type of deal. What do we use it for now? Pretty much the only thing humans do with it now is tequila. Yeah, alcohol. Like you know how humans are. They like to poison themselves to alter their mental state. It's a fun thing to do on a Wednesday night, you know? The agave that is used for tequila is a very specific species of agave. It is Agave tequilana, which makes sense. It's also commonly known as Agave Azul or blue agave. It is native to some parts of Mexico, and it is the base ingredient of tequila. It's the main thing, the main squeeze, if you will. The reason that it is good for an alcoholic beverage is because the core of the plant produces a very high amount of fructose, which is a type of sugar, like glucose. The agave begins to, the blue agave begins to flower when it's 5 years old. It produces stalks up to 16 feet tall. It's quite a large fella, you know, it's pretty cool. However, they do not let them bloom when they are cultivating them. When the stalks begin to form at about 5 years old, they cut the stalk to prevent it from forming, so that more energy goes into expanding the heart core of the agave plant. And the heart is what they use to make tequila, like this. They cut off all the leaves and they have that left. The heart is usually harvested between 7 and 14 years, and a singular agave heart can weigh up to 200 pounds. So we're not messing around, but we're not messing around at all. And in order to turn this heart of a plant, this big voluptuous thing, into tequila, it's quite the process. To begin, the core is heated. It's roasted, per se. And what this does is it converts the inulin, which inulin is a polysaccharide that is used to store energy. So it's not like energy that is being used, like we would say. So you'd say like carbohydrates, or like energy that's going, you know, coming in, being used. So inulin would be a stored version of this. So it's used if the plant needs it. So this most likely the inulin would be used when the plant is flowering. So it's going to store this energy up, so that when the plant is ready to flower, go through the whole process, it has plenty of energy to do so. Roasting this converts that inulin into usable sugars. Agave heart, after being roasted, is then squished, just kind of releases all the liquids out of it. It's basically juiced, per se. The liquid that comes out is known as aguamiel, and then this liquid is then fermented and distilled to make tequila. Some tequila is purely this. Some tequila is cut in half. I think they call that like mixed tequila or something dumb. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make tequila. Pretty nifty. Now moving on to my run-in with this beast of a plant known as Agave caymanensis. Over winter break, me and my family and another family that we were friends with went on a vacation. So we went to the Cayman Islands. 3 islands technically. We went to Grand Cayman, the largest. It is right below Cuba, in the sea, you know what I mean? We were there for 5 days. It was a good time. Had a lot of fun. It's an enjoyable vacation. One of the things that we ended up doing on this vacation was me, my father, my sister, and my sister's friend. We're together, hanging out, driving around, searching for adventure, per se, and adventure is just what we found. So, there was a little sign on the side of the road that said, nature preserve, wildlife preserve, something like that. And it pointed to a road. And we were like, hey, let's go down this road. So that's what we did. We went down this road. It was a sketchy road, quite a sketchy road, actually. It was, not paved. It was like loosely paved, I suppose, but it was pretty much gravel. And we drove down this road for probably 2 or 3 miles, and it ended at a sign that said Collier's Wildlife Preserve, Nature Preserve, or whatever. And it was chained off. Like the entrance it had a chain over it. Nobody else was there. Didn't look like anybody had been there for a while. So we kind of sat in the car for a little bit, wondering wondering what we were going to do. My dad had to pee, so he got out to pee. And I got out to look around, because I'm curious. Yes, I've heard what it did to the cat, but I am not a feline, okay? I'm a human. I'm smart. After some deliberation, we decided to go to the sketchy nature preserve that had most likely been abandoned. So we just stepped over the chain, figured what's the worst that could happen. Felt like the introduction to one of the Jurassic Park movies. Like, oh, hey, there's an abandoned wildlife preserve. Wonder what's in there. And then we just get eaten. We did not get eaten. Nobody was eaten. So it's a victory. It was actually very cool. Nature, you know? And especially since it looked like nobody's been there for quite a while. It was very natural, you know what I mean? Like, it hadn't been, like, the invasive species hadn't been plucked out one by one. Each blade of grass wasn't positioned so that it was pretty for a picture, you know? It was just nature. And one of the things that was all over the place there was this agave plant. And it was huge. Look at that. Holy crap, dude. That's wild. So these were all over the place in this little nature preserve. And it piqued my interest because it's a cool looking plant. So I did some research. And it is a cool plant. It's only native to the Cayman Islands. It is endemic to the Cayman Islands, per se. It is big. As you can see in the pictures, it can reach a height, and this is not bloomed. This is just the leaves and core of the plant. It can reach heights of 4 meters, which is 13 feet. And it can reach a width of 3 meters, or 10 feet. And it blooms up to 20 feet tall. Look at this. Huh? What? That's crazy. And it's got yellow flowers when it blooms, which is awesome. They can also grow to be very old. Their lifespan is anywhere from 20 to 70 years, which is crazy. Sadly, this is marked as an endangered plant. Population has been declining due to humans coming in, disturbing the land, building resorts and stuff like that. If you ask me, would have been a lot cooler if humans just never discovered the island, but that's not the way it went. So as of currently or recently, there's just over 1 million plants left on the island, which may sound like a lot, but that's not that big of a population when it comes to plants. From what I read, there aren't really any efforts being put towards preserving them. Big thing on the island is, hey, we got to protect the blue iguanas. That's the big thing on the island. Don't really hear anybody talking about the agave, so a little bit sad, but nature will figure it out. Nature will prevail, as it always does. Humans will not prevail, just like every other species. It'll come to an end eventually. So also, something interesting, just kind of a odd fact about the Agave caymanensis is it's not toxic to adult humans, but it can be mildly poisonous to children and pets. So keep your dog and your kid away from Agave caymanensis. You're welcome. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all about agave. I hope this was as interesting to you as it was to me. I found it quite interesting. I think plants are cool. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash like. Make sure to have a good day. Make sure to make someone else's day better if you can. Remember that you're good. Don't be too stressed with the start of a new year. It's going to be a good one, or it's going to be terrible. One of the two. And if it's terrible, that means next year is going to be better. So there's always that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. And yeah, smash like, subscribe, and I will see all of y'all later.